If you enjoy listening to inspirational stories from people just like us, facing the fear and doing it anyway, then you're in the right place. My name is Claire Hill, and this is the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 13. It is the beginning of December, one of my favourite months of the year. I'm so excited for Christmas. Though we've only just put the tree up. We put the tree up the other day because we thought, well, we need to give Jackson his magic, the magic of Christmas, you know. My husband was like, I really can't be asked to do this. But we've managed it and it's all amazing. And we've got our lovely elf on the shelf from Peas, Peggies and Poppets from the lovely Laura. And we are going to be using that every year forever. We don't call it elf on the shelf though. We call it the Christmas fairy. And he has a little, and it's a he as well, because I didn't want Jackson to think that all fairies are girls. But the Christmas fairy lives in the clock, and he's got a little door that he moves into over Christmas, and then he magically gives Jackson chocolate every day in an old advent calendar pocket thing that my mother-in-law gave us, that she made. I think she made it or she picked it up. It's donkey's years old, but then we're not using plastic with the advent calendars, so just doing our bit, you know. I'm really excited this week to have Sally on. Sally is a marketing expert and has actually helped me a little bit with my website. I thought I knew about SEO. That sentence doesn't make sense. I thought I knew a little bit about SEO. And I did, only a little bit. I thought I knew more than I actually did. And then Sally started working with me on the website, and I just didn't have the time to invest in it. So I invested in her, and she's working wonders. It's amazing. I think what we discuss in this episode, which is really important, is when you are running a small business, whether it's service-based or product-based, you are on Instagram usually and Facebook, you get instant gratification in a marketing perspective. You may get a sale from a post, somebody connecting with you to work with you, and it feels really, really good. But what if Instagram doesn't exist anymore? And I've always had, well, for a very long time now, I've had a newsletter, but I say a very long time, it's not even that long. I've had it about, actually I haven't really, I've only had it just over a year. Anyway, I digress. But SEO is one of those parts of marketing that can be quite overwhelming. So we talk a bit about that and about how it's a slow burner. And Sally uses a great analogy to explain the importance of SEO. So yeah, I'm really chuffed. And what it made me realise is that this podcast, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to do a little bit of word of mouth marketing, or ask you to do that. If you listen to this podcast, can you please, I feel bad even asking, but can you please message a friend and say, have you listened to this podcast? And just pick your favourite episode and send it on. Because I would really, really appreciate it. If you have time to leave a review to tell people if you found any value. I get lovely DMs from people. I just want to say thank you so much for your DMs on how much you find value in this podcast. I really do appreciate it. But that's because you know me through Instagram. There are so many people out there that don't know who I am and may find value too if you put a review. So if you could copy and paste the DM into the review. Am I asking too much? I probably am. I've been so poorly. I've got this leftover cough. It's doing my nutting. It needs to go. Sorry, so I just had to cough. So yeah, what am I talking about? Sorry, guys. I shouldn't say guys. Sorry, everyone. I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, can you leave a review, please, and rate the podcast? I'd really appreciate it. I have decided with my coaching to postpone. I've got some training I had booked, and I spoke to everyone that had booked space and thought, this is the wrong time of year before Christmas to host this training, isn't it? And they were all like, Yeah, it is. We really wanted to do it, but it's the wrong side of Christmas. So I've rescheduled it to the 11th of January, which I think is makes absolute sense. So if you listen to the podcast, I'm going to give you a discount if you want to book a space, and you can have £22 off. It's £77 at the minute. If you use if you use the code early bird, then you can get £22 off until the end of December. So then you can book onto January, use it as a place to build momentum for your business if you run one, and just a new fresh start to January with a little bit more purpose and strategy. And I'm going to give you tools to create a better mindset. I mean, that's a really good way to start January, isn't it? And I've also got to tell you one more bit of news before I let this wonderful podcast play. I'm writing an ebook. I've nearly finished it. It's not that long. It's quite short, but I'm going to send it out to all of my mailing list on Clare Hill Coaching on New Year's Eve. And everybody that signs up to my mailing list on Clare Hill Coaching will get a copy from the 1st of January. So it was a way, one, I love writing, and so it's just an excuse to do more writing. But also, I just want to show you that I do believe I know what I'm talking about. I do it all these things every day, and it's changed my life, the stuff that I do. It's going to be sort of the life hacks of a small business owner. So hopefully, if you are a small business owner, you'll find value. I do know that people that don't run businesses listen to this podcast. So I do apologise for just going off and targeting people that run small businesses. But I've gone off on a tangent and just waffled on, really, haven't I? So I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to let you enjoy this wonderful podcast from me and Sally. Hi, Sally.
Hello, how are we?
Oh, good. We're good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Up bright and early.
I don't know why we said we, like there's more than one of us.
I know, it's like the royal we, isn't it?
Royal we. Yeah, why is even that?
One is up for a podcast at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I got you up early, didn't I?
I
wanted to do the interview nice and early, get it done, because we are currently in the Christmas rush over at Vivid, and I'm up to my eyeballs. I was up at 5 this morning finishing a massive rainbow.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You're crazy. Yeah, you're such a hard worker. It pays off. This is a hard time for you guys.
I think I've not been that well. I think we can say that I've probably worked a bit too hard. I need to slow down a bit. But so I've got 3 weeks off at Christmas. So, so for people who don't know who you are, Sally, who are you? What's your name? And where do you come from?
Hello, everyone. So my name is Sally, and I am the founder of currently a one-man band marketing agency called 49 North Digital. I specialise in helping small business owners, female entrepreneurs, really step into their superpower through organic marketing methods. So I help them get seen on Google. I help them with Instagram management, email marketing, Facebook. Basically, I help you get seen.
Brilliant. And I think I've learned what marketing is over Vivid. As you know, I don't know if you know, I used to run another creative business called Violet and May.
Yeah, I heard you mention it.
And I did not know what marketing was. So there might be some people out there that don't actually understand what marketing is.
Yeah.
So I would say in a small way, but in a simple way for people to understand, because I think for a lot of the people that listen to this podcast are creative business owners, and sometimes that part of the joy of just sharing your products, it's like, well, of course you're going to buy it, it's absolutely amazing, but you do need to be aware of marketing, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And marketing is very multifaceted, and there's a lot to it. But I mean, like how you just said there with how business owners can't wait to share their work, that is marketing in a sense. So I kind of always see marketing as the doing word. It's like the verb. So it's everything that you do to get your product, to get your service out there to the masses, show them what you do and how you do it. So I guess it's the communication of what you do and showing to people what kind of value you can bring to their lives with your product or service.
Amazing. So let's do a list of marketing examples. So, for example, this is my so can you test me now, right, to see if I know what actual marketing is?
Absolutely.
What actual marketing is? That doesn't even make sense.
Actual marketing.
Okay, right. Okay, here we go. word of mouth, telling your friends about something.
I would say that, yeah, that is marketing. It's kind of like, it's like an in-person sort of affiliate or referral scheme.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
An Instagram post,
Absolutely, definitely.
an Instagram story, and an Instagram reel. A reel is obvious, but a story is also marketing, isn't it?
Yeah, and stories are so powerful, Claire. Like honestly, this is where the magic happens. Like in stories, like it's where like your VIPs are, your biggest fans. They people who click on your stories want to buy from you. Like they love watching you. They are waiting to be sold at. And frankly, if you don't sell on your stories, you're doing them a disservice.
But I don't like. What do you mean by? Do you mean by saying this is my product? Do you want to buy it, or is it sort of like a an sort of influencing them to buy it because you're like, I find it so
You
difficult
was
to do that.
Yeah, and I mean to be fair, you smash it on Vivid, to be honest. Just want to say that. I think it's the art of empowering people. Like people are following you. That's the first thing. They've walked into your shop. So they're seeing what you've got to offer. You're just telling them how great it is on your story. And you might want to story tell a little bit. Like, for example, if you're a service provider, you can share your story about how you went from A to B and, you used a specific method to solve that problem. And now you want to share that method with others. You're sharing that on your story. That is essentially selling. If you're a product based business, you do it all the time. You could do like a work with me, a time lapse where, you just speed up the
Mm,
process and, you see people then get to see the behind the scenes of what actually goes into making.
mm.
Um, you can talk about your products. You could be like, I've got this, it's amazing for X, Y, and Z. I've got one up on my wall. Like, this is how I do. So there's ways of doing it. You want to empower and influence people to get your product. They're already interested. If they're watching your stories, they want to hear what you have to say, whether you're a product or a service-based business.
For obviously on Vivid, my stories, it's taken a lot of practice to get to that point.
Yeah.
I don't think I used to be as good but then I don't think I'm that good at stories. I'm not like, I think I'm just myself. I think that's where it is.
Yeah,
That
so
like,
the
yeah.
thing the thing that you are is authentic, and I
Mm,
think a lot of people in this industry bounce the word authentic around and it can become a bit of a buzzword, but we can naturally tell if someone is being real or not. Like and you just get a vibe and you are full blown, like you are a vibe on Vivid. Like you're honest, you're open, you're funny, relatable, and all these things that I'm saying here, these are like content types. These are ways that your audience engages with you. So when you make them laugh, you're building that connection, you're marketing.
what do you mean by, right? Okay, so I do know a little bit about this, but I'm just sitting there thinking the only reason I know about this is because you've told me. So content types. What do you
Yes.
mean?
So this is ways that you present your content to your audience. So it's, for example, you might want to educate them. You might want to entertain them, inspire. They're like the three main content types that people talk about. Also, promotional is a content type. And then from there, I guess if you're creating content, you want to have something called content pillars. And these are like core topics that like the back of your hand. So, for example, yours in Vivid might be like making. You might have a content type that is, follow me along behind the scenes making. And then
Is
you
this
can
like
tap.
the content house that I shared with you?
Yeah, so you have the content house.
Yeah.
I use content pillars. Everyone
Oh,
has
okay.
their own way of doing things.
Yeah, because I
So,
created that when I didn't know about content pillars. And then
yeah,
you
and
were
I
like,
was
oh
like,
no,
this is
there's your
really
content
interesting.
pillars. Yeah, right.
I was like, this is super interesting. Like, and it makes you stand out because you approach it in a different way and it works for you. And
Mm.
I want everyone to do that. Like, I think one of the biggest and fastest ways to success in any business is by being you and being unique.
Mm.
So, with your content house, for example, that is you. Like, no one else can get the content house.
I have to explain it though, don't I?
Yeah, but it
This
makes
is the bricks.
sense.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
the
yeah,
thing. Like, and
yeah.
people will be able to relate to that because a house is like brick and mortar. It's something they can see. And I think what some business owners struggle with is they get overwhelmed with the thought of marketing because, like you said, they don't fully understand it. But if you can explain it in terms where they can,
Mm.
then it's far more easier for them to, and that's like anything in life,
Mm.
you
No,
know.
yeah, exactly. It's just, it's that being able to visualize it. And I think from my point of view, I needed to see what I was building for my content. And then I
Exactly.
made it for one of my one-to-one clients. And then she uses it now as well. But it is because you can just then just go, oh, okay, you're building something. And that is what marketing is in a way
Yeah.
as well, isn't it?
Or as I describe it, I'm pointing behind me now to my snowboard with the mountains. I call it climbing a mountain. You know,
Yeah.
you're progressing up, and once you get to the top, like that's where the good stuff happens. Good views.
Amazing. But here's a question for you. When you get to the top, now marketing, do you just get to the top and then you're all done?
Oh no, it's kind of like a false summit, I guess, in that
Yeah.
sense. But I think once you get to sort of your goals and your top, that's when you can start to, think about scaling in a different way. You might bring on team members, you might want to step back a bit and focus on the life that kind of, you started a business for. So in a way, it's a false summit, but not in a bad way. Like
No.
it's just you climbing the next one.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like
And then
a
if you make
mountain
it like to the
range.
top of Everest, then like I don't know, you're a millionaire living your best life, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. And then you just like your name just does all the marketing for you.
Yeah, like yeah, you just have to walk
Like the
into a
beckons.
room.
Yeah. So how did you fall into this role, like this job? How did you create your business?
So it definitely wasn't a non-linear journey. I hear a lot. There's a lot of stories online at the moment because I think that the online industry has kind of boomed after the pandemic, but I started my journey sort of years ago. So I love traveling. I have been traveling for years prior to the pandemic. This is the longest time I've been in the UK. Um, but yeah, so around I think it was 2015, I was traveling, and me and my partner at the time, we really wanted to start a travel blog. We'd wanted to do this for the longest time. Finally, I stopped worrying about what other people would think and started this travel blog. And oh my God, like it's more than just writing down things that you see. Like there's so much to it. And I literally had to learn everything. Like I was crying the first time I opened my WordPress website because I'm like looking at something. I'm like, what on earth is going on?
Mm.
And it was just one of those things. So I am self taught in a sense. I went through I learned how I could get visible on Google. Like I got really obsessed with learning SEO, and I'm happy to talk about that later. So that's like getting found on Google. And obviously, I was blogging, and then I had to market myself. Um, Travel is very visual, very inspirational types of content. So I set up an Instagram page. I grew that to 26,000 followers.
Wow.
Mainly landscape photography, and originally it was just so people could keep up with us because back then, I mean, it's not that long ago, really, it's like that time, but it was still in a time where, you didn't have unlimited data abroad. So, you had to go somewhere with Wi Fi and then you spend all your time texting everyone.
Mm.
So, by having this blog and this Instagram account, we could kind of communicate what we were up to and everyone could get to see it for themselves. But yeah, I kind of got thrusted then into this travel blogging community and learn a hell of a lot about marketing. Pinterest, for example. Once again, I was in a very visual kind of industry, so I drove a lot of traffic to my website through Pinterest, learned all the ins and outs of that, and so forth. And so did that for a couple of years, and then me and my partner parted ways. We broke up, so we went separate ways. And a lot of people were saying to me, "Oh, you should still carry on with your travel blog," and I'm like, "It's not really the same." But then I was doing some research about, because I'd always wanted to be a digital nomad, which is essentially a person that just works from the road. They take their laptop with them and they go off. And I'd like been in awe of this lifestyle for years and years. And I was on this one website and she was saying how people will pay you to write for their website. So like I was doing my own travel blog, but there's actually people out there that will pay you to write their blogs for them.
Wow.
So then I got into the content writing space and learned that people pay like pretty decent money for you to write their blogs for them, any sort of content on their website. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. And I was traveling at one point and I was naughty, ran out of money, but I didn't want to make a call home and I wanted to try and do it for myself. So I'm like in the middle of this trip. I had my laptop with me and I'm like, okay, I need to last another month. Let's see if I can earn some money on the road. Like this is the test now.
Mm.
So I was like doing it, and I made like $1,000, and I was like, oh my god, like this is possible. I can fund myself traveling. So then that's how I kind of got into the content writing space. And I think once you've kind of tasted that lifestyle, you never ever want to get a normal job again. So I came back to the UK for a little bit. I'd earn like an okay amount of money, and so I had to register as self-employed. And then yeah, I led a freelance lifestyle then for the next sort of couple of years, and I sort of picked up jobs as and when, and it was freelance, so I could pick it up, do some, then not work for a few months, go traveling. And then sort of this year I realized I'm 30, like I've just gone 31 now, and I was like, I can't get like working holiday visas anymore. I need to find a way that I can build a business that I'm like proud about and want to talk about, rather than just, you know, picking something up and saying to people, oh, I kind of do this like freelancing thing. So I invested in coaching, and I invested a lot into my business, and I sort of started to turn into a CEO. And I've always wanted to do marketing. I think people are natural marketers. Like I'm a talker, you can tell. And it's something I've always been interested in. Obviously, I'd learned so much over the years about how to promote yourself online. And so, yeah, I think it was just a couple of months ago, I was like, look, I'm doing all these things that are kind of marketing, but I want to do it all, and I can do
Mm.
it all. So I kind of stepped into it. I remember I told you guys, and I was like, this is it. I'm going to offer marketing because I actually know a lot more than I give myself credit for sometimes. So it was very zigzag. It's a bit of a long-winded story.
I love it though. But now you've got your digital 49 North. Where's the name come from?
I love the name. Right. So this was so in between sort of me. I had that trip, sorry, where I'd like run out of money, and then I had to go back to Canada just to kind of tie up some loose ends, and then I was going to leave. And I couldn't stay in Canada at the time because there wasn't a visa for me. And I was like, but I'm going to make this business work. And I found out that there's a visa that you can get if you are like writing. And I was doing that at the time. And I just fell in love with Canada. Like Canada was such a transformational place for me. Like I lived in Vancouver. You were surrounded by the gorgeous mountains all the time. Like you literally have everything in that city. You've got the beach, you got the mountains, you got
There's a
snowboarding.
beach in Vancouver.
Yeah, really nice. And like in the summer, it's like
Oh, I
35
didn't know
degrees.
that.
It's sweltering.
Wow.
And then, you know, you can drive up 45 minutes, an hour and a half up to Whistler, and it's puking snow. Like
You can snow.
not in the summer, like, you can mountain bike there in the summer, but in the winter, it's amazing. So Canada was really transformational for me. I went through a tough time there. I always thought I'd go back, and maybe I will someday. And Canada actually sits on so if you're looking at longitude and latitude, Canada sits on the 49th parallel north. So that's where the name comes from,
Ah,
49 North. And it
lovely.
was kind of it pays homage to like it's a place where I finally decided I wanted to become self-employed. It's a place where I faced some of like the most difficult challenges I've ever had in my life. And I think it was really magical. So I wanted my business to be called that. And I was like, if I go back there one day, everyone will know what it means.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, so that's
That's
where the name
really
comes from. And I like it. It's different. Everyone's normally like, it's so and so, or I am blah blah. And it's like, okay, I have a brand story.
yeah, that's good. It's always good about the story. So,
Yeah.
is there an area of marketing that because you do absolutely love marketing. Like is it, like, I've got two questions here. So let me start with the other one now. Is there the reason you love marketing because of the progress and the transformation that you can give a business because of a few tweaks? That's a closed question. I shouldn't ask you closed questions, but I just did.
Yes.
That's not a
Bring
very
it on.
good not good podcast interviewing then.
Leading the speaker.
Yeah. But
I
yeah.
can definitely expand on that. Yeah. So I am also a natural entrepreneur. I do not believe that people should sit chained to a desk. I mean, if you wanna, like, that's fine, like live your best life. But for me, I am like absolutely not. I can't think of anything more soul destroying than sitting at a 9 to 5 for 40 years to wait to retire to then go traveling when your knees are gone. So I actually am a natural entrepreneur, and I want to show other women that this is possible because, oh my God, is it possible? Like it really is. And if you can build somewhat of a business and you've not even got a marketing strategy, imagine what you can do when you've got like a wing woman by your side who knows her shit. Like,
Mm.
and you can just create like I think something I've learned over the last few years is like we have the power to completely change our lives. And we all have talents. Like you have got a talent that you can change the world with. And I want to help you share that talent with the world. And that's why I love marketing. And you meet amazing people. Like we were at a live event last week and oh my gosh, like the ladies there, it's like this is unbelievable. Like I genuinely believe that some of these women are going to change the world.
Mm. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
amazing.
want to be a part of that and I want to encourage them to do that because I think it's a disservice if they were to just sit at a 9 to 5 all day when they can create so much more.
So obviously marketing is ridiculously powerful but I think
Unreal.
it's just the understanding. Some people are scared because they feel that marketing can be, I suppose it is quite scary because it can be so complex. I mean, I know I just started doing examples, but Facebook post, email marketing, bloody love email marketing. The one
Yes.
thing that lots of people don't know much about, and I know I secretly know, but I don't secretly know, but I do know that you really love this because of the geeky part of it, is the SEO.
I'm
Now,
such a nerd.
I know, yeah, net geeks for all the world. So am I. That's what,
Yes.
it's absolutely great. And I thought I knew stuff about SEO. So I came to you to look at Vivid for me. And I said, well, I've done this, this, and this. And you said, oh, that's really good. However,
However,
there was quite like, you need to title your pictures. That's the biggest.
titling your pictures is a big thing, like
I know, it's just
especially
like
for a product-based business.
IMG. Yeah, I know. IMG 2017. But is there a reason why, like, do you feel like SEO is your favorite part of marketing? Or is it because
um,
it's so hidden and not many people know much about it? It's sort of like your superpower.
here's a thought. Like, so it's just kind of I was thinking about what SEO is, and I'm like, actually, I can kind of relate to it in a way. So people think that SEO is this dark art, and that you
Yeah,
have to be like Harry
dark art.
Potter to like navigate through me,
It's like you
but it
have to
really
log
doesn't
into a
have
secret
to.
part of the internet
Yeah, like
yeah,
just doing all sneaky stuff.
yeah.
And maybe that comes from its roots because I mean, if you go into like the early tens, people were setting up affiliate sites, and you used to be able to rank on Google by just like creating text and making it invisible, and then you'd have all these keywords hidden on your website. That doesn't work anymore, FYI. Like that is a shit tactic.
Oh.
Um,
Can you pay to be top of Google now? Like, because it didn't used to be that you could pay Google to do it.
You can pay Google for ads. You would never
Right.
have been able to pay Google. You could probably have paid companies that would have done some really dodgy stuff
Right.
to get you to the top, like what we would call black hat SEO. And that really is sneaky. That is the dark art, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like, I guess I enjoy doing it because it's so powerful. Like, long term, everything that you do now will pay off later. So I was describing it to people the other day, and it's like, would you rather have one cookie now or 10 cookies later? And it's this delayed gratification because the power of SEO can be astronomical. And it's one of those things, you don't just do it 1 month and then the next month it just like falls off a cliff. It builds and builds and builds. So every time you make that small step, it's like you're climbing a mountain. You're going in the right direction, and eventually you will hit the top, aka page one,
Mm.
and people will see your content. I think where people get sort of lost with it is there's a lot of like information. I don't think people overcomplicate it, I think. And a
Mm.
lot of experts do. I think the SEO industry is run by a lot of or it previously there's been a lot of people in the industry who they do shady things to rank you. So then but the problem is with that is if you're always doing shady things, you'll be forever chasing and forever changing. Whereas if you just create a sustainable strategy, it will pay off in the end.
Mm.
So there's like lots of elements to SEO. I think like the main thing I would say about it is ultimately and I always go back to this and it helps ground me, it's ultimately about user experience. You want your user to have the best time on your site so they come back. Google wants their users to find exactly what they're looking for so they come back to Google every time. So you don't go to Bing and Yahoo and all these other sites that no one uses to search. And so I think that's really important to remember. And I think with all these shady tactics that you've had over the years to try and rank, it's sort of created this, like, it's made it, well, mystical. And I just want to demystify it.
But do you think as well, isn't that hand in hand with how Instagram now provides a free marketing tool for, and Instagram and Facebook provide those free marketing tools for small businesses? Because 20 years ago, you wouldn't have any of this. You know, if I was a small business when I had Violet and May, there was Facebook, there wasn't Instagram. Instagram didn't exist. And so when was that?
MySpace, Tom?
Yeah, MySpace. Yeah, there was MySpace. So I did have a MySpace, I think. But I didn't have an Instagram. I had a Facebook. And the way that I had to sell my products and get people involved in buying them was I had a little Etsy store. And then, which I didn't really do very well on.
I can't believe Etsy was around then.
Yes, it was 2010. Not on the high street was around. So it was literally, it was really early. It was really early. Was Etsy there? No, Etsy was around. But I had a little website that my brother-in-law made for me. And I used to just tell everybody about it. I would be on Facebook and get everybody to share everything. And then I would do parties, like Tupperware parties around people's houses and do like little market stalls. And people would have invite loads of people around to buy stuff or to have a look. And then I would traipse the high streets, going into shops saying, this is what I do. Would you like to stock my products? And I literally was militant with it. It wasn't, there was lots of different things and reasons why it wasn't successful in the end. But no, it was successful. I'm doing it a disservice, but then I became a teacher. So, it can't have been that good. But I think then when I started Vivid, it was like, okay, so you start the Instagram profile. That's like the first stage, isn't it, of marketing for a new business?
Yeah, and definitely then you social media.
And it's the same as so with Vivid, I remember getting to 100 followers, and it was such an amazing thing for me. I was like, I cannot believe 100 people have chosen to follow me. And then I've had that recently with Claire Hill Coaching when I started that one, and the podcast Instagram. Though I'm really rubbish on the Instagram for the podcast, but with Claire Hill Coach, when I got to 100, I was like, oh my God, that is so amazing. I don't think that magic goes away, but that magic is instant. To have somebody see, like I had a new follower on Vivid this morning, and I know that Vivid is bigger, but I still think, oh, I've got a new follower. Oh, how amazing. Oh, look, I've got a like on my post. Though I don't care about as many, that like the number of likes and real watches. I don't care about that anymore. I used to really care. If I get a post that's good, I'm like, brilliant. But
yeah, it's a nice feeling, but ultimately that's kind of a message I want to spread as well, is that ultimately it doesn't matter if you've got 10 likes or 1 million likes. It matters if they're buying.
Yes.
So, and I know a lot of very, very successful entrepreneurs. I'm talking multiple six figures, and they've got less than 1,000 followers on Instagram.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
And like insane, and they're having insane cash months. So so I definitely wanted to mention that while we were on today, is that follower count means absolutely naff all.
No, and I think as well, when we're talking about like follow, when you're liking these pictures, so I'm going back to SEO. So what I feel, the reason I've moved away from caring, no, I do care about Instagram. I love Instagram because I it's like having friends in my phone, and I got so many followers that I regularly daily chat to about absolute shit, nothing to do with my products.
That's unlike you.
Nothing to do with my products at all, literally just shit, and I love them for it. I've got so many friends in my phone. And then but I feel like that blackout, when we had the Instagram blackout at the beginning of October and the Facebook, if you don't have the thing is as well, I'm going back to email marketing. I'm really, as you know, I'm passionate about email marketing.
You make people like overcome with emotion on your emails. They're insane.
Oh yeah, Claire Hill. Yeah, I had a couple of cries, didn't I? Bless them.
I was crying when I was reviewing
Oh
it for
yeah.
you.
That was only the first one
I know.
though.
I was like, all right, stop sending me these, Claire, please.
I love writing though. That's the thing. That's the reason I find it easier with email newsletter is because I love the writing. But with the Vivid Joy, I love doing that. Like I do a bumper edition, like I think it's next week I've got my bumper edition, and I love it. But I can't, it's not sensible me doing it every week. But I used to do it every week. You know, like I
Yeah.
used to do a podcast of the week, a tune of the week, a small business of the week every single week. It was just too much in the end. So I do it every month. But going back to SEO,
Yes.
SEO for me, I understanding and believing that it's that slow burner that is going to reap the rewards has changed how I see about how I feel about Instagram and Facebook, because Instagram and
Yeah.
Facebook is an integral part of my business. There's no getting away from it. But I have to have the email marketing and the SEO. Is there anything else I could have? Probably.
Email marketing SEO. I say for yourself, because you're a creative business, I would totally get yourself on Pinterest. Like, because
Oh
you've
yeah,
got
yeah,
such
you're
gorgeous
right.
designs. Like,
Yeah.
and especially like you do very seasonal designs as well. Like you
Mm,
play with trends, and like Pinterest trends, like unbelievable. Like people
yeah.
go on there to search for gifts for the holidays, for Halloween, Christmas, even like wedding
Mm.
decorations. Like I'm sure you could make a wire word that said just married and it'd look
Oh
pretty
yeah.
epic.
Don't tell anyone. I've got cake toppers coming next year. Did you used to say to me, I
Yeah,
think that
I
I'm going to
messaged
do
you
them
when
for
I was doing
January.
SEO research
Yeah.
for you because wire cake toppers was like quite a popular search term. So I was like, do
Mm.
you do cake toppers?
Yeah. So my friend Lauren, who's another wire artist, has got some beautiful cake toppers. And I used to do cake toppers all the time. And I've just got taken over by doing other things. But I feel like, so what you say, right, Pinterest. So for my business, it's like having, a quarter of Instagram. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's your time. A quarter of my time should be on Instagram. A quarter of my time should be on my newsletter. A quarter of the time SEO. A quarter of the time on Pinterest. But that feels, for somebody that is just beginning or is not as maybe as established as me, that is so overwhelming, isn't it? And like I said to you, I found out the reason I got involved with SEO is I Googled wire words to find out where Vivid was on Google. Now, this was
Mm,
before any work that you
yeah.
were involved with. And I was not even in the top 1,500. I don't think I was on the top 100.
So not in the top
I
10
was,
pages. Like
yeah,
you
I
just
wasn't
weren't
in,
ranking basically.
I wasn't, no, I didn't exist on Google. This was about May. So everything was a bit quiet. And I was like, shitting Nora. Like, if I'm not, poor Nora is always shitting.
I know, yeah,
Is
Nora. She's going through a rough time.
But I was like, what the hell am I going to do? So I watched loads of YouTube videos and I plugged away and I use Wix as my website and I plugged
Mm,
away on that to try and do some bits and bobs. And I was like, okay, things have improved and slowly things started to improve. And that was literally a week of me going mental on it.
yeah.
So I shouldn't use the
But
word mental, going
it
mad on it, but
pays off though. Like, that one week, it's not just that week. It's not like plowing ads into something for a week and when you stop the ads, everything stops.
no.
Like over time, that work pays off.
But when you spoke to me about my website
Mm,
and I said, I think I need some help with SEO. I'm really passionate about SEO. I do not have any time to do this. Can
yeah.
you help? Yes, I can help you, Claire. And then you went on to the website. You were like, you've done some good work. And I said this earlier, but I thought I knew stuff, but I only knew about what, 10%?
Yeah, like it's but you did, but I guess you don't know what you don't know.
No, I know, no.
And I think people avoid SEO because it is a slow burner and we live in a very much instant gratification
That's the
society.
point I was trying to make after going, oh,
Yeah,
I just went
yeah.
back literally round the Himalayas and came
I
back
know, I
again.
know. We were like, you were talking about it, and I heard myself go off on a tangent, and then we went off on another way
Yeah.
anyway. But yeah, essentially, I think that's what put people off SEO. But SEO can be really, really simple. Like I said, it's about user intent. It's about being strategic with the kind of content you put out there. So, you can do keyword research and include these keywords on your website. One error that I saw you making, if you don't mind me
No.
mentioning it,
Yep.
Um, so when you search for something on Google, you get all the results, and then you have, the bit in blue at the top, which is your title, and then you have a bit of text underneath. That's called a meta description. Google usually calls that off at around 155 to 165 characters. It varies for mobile and desktop, but give or take, that's around it. And I noticed that you'd put a ton of keywords in there. You'd said it's everything that you do. So it was like wire words, custom wire art, bespoke wire art, great gifts. But you'd actually use like 362 characters. So that had a couple of impacts. First of all, half of it would never be seen by someone
Mm,
because it's called truncating. That's a
mm,
lovely word for you, isn't it? Google automatically truncates it and shortens it. So they would only have ever seen the first bit. And because it was over the count and it was full of so many keywords, that could have actually had a negative impact on your SEO. So I'm working my way through that for you now on some products that you've pre-selected. And I noticed the difference already. I've changed a few of them already, and you're already moving up for certain words. Like I've literally took out 99% of the words you put in there, and instead I changed it. So this is called a meta description, and I changed it to just something that sounds like, you're talking about it. I was like, custom wire words, that bit is the keyword
mm.
for, great for gifts, blah, blah, blah. I kept it, I can't remember exactly what I put, but I made it appealing. It was a short sentence. If someone sees that, they'll want to click on it.
Mm.
And yeah, you've got rid of a ton of keywords on that thing, but actually Google might have seen what you were doing before as a little bit spammy. So
Ah,
you're
right.
actually doing yourself, and I did a little search yesterday because I'm going to be wrapping up your work this week, and I did a little search yesterday, and your impressions, like this is just the beginning, your impressions have 4 times since we started
Wow.
working together, and I excluded the term vivid because I was like, okay, that's your brand awareness. So words that don't include vivid, it's gone from like around 1,000 to nearly 5,000 impressions. And some of them are still really low rankings, but they're actually starting to rank. And as we work on that, they will eventually go higher and higher and higher. But one of the things that works for you is the fact, you are solving a problem. You know exactly what you sell. You do custom words. If someone searches custom wire words, that is exactly what you offer. So you are naturally going to perform better than someone who doesn't necessarily do that but is trying to rank for it.
Mm,
And the work that you did was incredible. Like there was a few key phrases, and I use a tool that sort of assesses how difficult it would be to rank for that keyword, and some of them are super highly competitive, and you are dancing. Like I've got a couple of them onto page one for you now that we're on page two, but they are dancing around that page two, page one mark. So for you to have achieved that already, now I'm just going to give you that little boost
mm.
up the last bit, and we can get you to the top, because when someone searches custom wire words, you are what they want.
Oh, I hope so.
So like they
Yeah.
absolutely are. So it's just about knowing these little things, really, and like
Mm.
something like a meta description can make all the difference. Google will automatically create one if you don't have one, but you're not going to rank.
No, no. But I think well, the key to this is the fact that um getting someone involved, like I got you involved in the business, and it was such a weight off my mind. You ticked that to do thing off of my, the list in my head. You ticked it so that I then don't need to worry for a little while, because you're going
Exactly,
to tell
until I
me,
come back with you with this awful list of
yeah,
things to
this
do.
list to do. But I'm actually excited because it's like a list, isn't it? I can check off.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like I want to, you probably, like, especially yourself, you're a prime example as a small business owner who creates product. You don't want to sit there all day changing your meta descriptions and your title tags and doing your schema
Mm,
markup. Like,
no,
do you really?
no.
Like it might interest you, but do you
The,
have the time to really
no,
put into
that's it.
that?
I think I do. I enjoy that kind of work. But when you're telling me what I need to know how to do, I know that you've done a fair chunk of it, but there's other stuff that I need to do. But you're going to tell me what I need to do. The most overwhelming part is going, I've got an issue with SEO. I have no idea where to start. And that's
Yeah.
that's the most
So
overwhelming
I've
part.
already run a report on your account, so I can be like, okay, there was some pages as well, back to the meta descriptions as well. you'd put the same one on multiple pages. So it
Yeah.
was flagging as duplicate content. And that actually has like a medium to high impact on where you'll rank.
Mm.
So
And I did that
even
because I
even
didn't have
just
the time.
knowing that though, yeah, and like and
Yeah.
just knowing that, like that's so worth the investment. Like you can transform it in for such a relatively low amount. Someone goes to you and goes, you need to change that. And one thing I like to do is I like to tell people why, because
Mm.
there's no point in me going change that because you'll never learn from it. Now you
Yeah.
know if you add a new product to your site, you're not going to copy and paste all them keywords into your
No.
meta description.
No.
You're going to write something that someone wants to click on, and you're going to include one of the keywords in there.
Amazing. Yeah, well, say hopefully I'll be at the top soon. I hope people like at least I wanted you on because of the value I think that you can give people,
Yeah.
and it's really good marketing, isn't it? Being on a podcast
Yeah, exactly. This is,
for your
hi guys, this is
business.
my first ever podcast. Like,
Yeah, you've
a
done amazing.
little bit nervous, and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I hope talking about SEO has given you some. I want to give some sort. It's hard to talk about it without sometimes confusing people because there are a lot of words used. But I hope that I kind of broke it down a wee bit for you so you can kind of understand in layman's terms what
There needs
things
to
mean.
be an SEO house, doesn't there? Sort of like
Yeah,
what
like
are
a
the building
dictionary.
blocks? Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. How you build it. So I ask everybody who comes on. This is the bit where I stumble because it's the only scripted part. Here we go. What would I was like really prepare myself to get the words right in my head? If you could tell yourself 10 years ago something you know now that you wish you'd known then, what would it be? Oh, the first time I've done it in one go. This is like episode 13 or 12, 13. I don't know. I can't remember.
Well done, Claire. That's like a small applause for Claire. 1,000%. Like, I do not regret much in my life, but one thing that I always say that I would do is if you have an idea and you want to like try something new, whether it's starting a business, if you have an idea and want to do something, for the love of God, just go do it. Do not hold yourself back based on
I love it.
based on what other people think. Because honestly, you're doing yourself and the people around you that you're ultimately going to impact such a disservice. Like, it's scary. It's scary as hell. Like, me a year ago today, if you'd have told me I would be on a podcast, absolutely not. But you have to do it. So don't let the fear of what other people will think hold you back from achieving what you were meant to do in life.
That's it.
Because I'd have started my travel blog years before I did, and it probably would have been far more successful. I would have started in other avenues. I would have probably started my official marketing career far sooner than what I did. And that's like the only kind of regret that I sort of have.
Yeah. But you wouldn't have the business you have today without that.
That's true as well. Like, everything's a lesson, isn't it? So
definitely with that in mind though, do you face the fear and do it anyway now?
absolutely. This is facing the fear right now. I'm on this podcast today. This afternoon, I'm teaching a masterclass on how to master your messaging and your content. Like, Sally hosting a masterclass. Like, what?
Amazing. Amazing. Oh, it's lovely to have you on. Where can people find you?
So I hang around a lot on Instagram. Send me a DM, send me a voice note. I bloody love a voice note.
You love a voice note.
I do love a voice note. So my handle on there is at 49north.digital. You can also check me out at 49northdigital.com. Email hello@ 49northdigital.com. But yeah, Instagram's probably the best place to find me. I'm on there all the time, and I have conversations with amazing women in business all the time. And yeah, I'd love to have a chin wag with you.
Amazing. Oh, thanks so much, love.
No worries.
Thanks. But yeah, no, it's been brilliant having you on. And please message if you found any value in this. If you're listening now, please message Sally and tell her.
Yeah, actually, do you know what I do have? So there's a lot of free content relating to setting up your SEO on my Instagram account. I also have a bit of a checklist that I give to clients. I use it for when I'm blogging, but it kind of works for any sort of content, and it's just a little checklist to check that you've covered everything in terms of your SEO before you upload anything to your site. So if any readers want if any listeners want access to that, I'm happy to send them over. It's just a little Word document, and it'll just help you to set yourself up for success, because I want you to be seen on Google. You've got an amazing business, so it's time to share that with the world.
Oh, there we go. We'll end there. Thanks, love. Thanks so much for coming on.
Have a good
Bye.
one. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Written, produced and hosted by Claire Hill, and music has been composed by my brother, Phil Vick.